joining us this evening, regular scheduled council meeting in the Park City City Council on November 13th, 2018 at 7 p.m. Dee, would you call the roll?
Here.
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 All right. Tonight, Pastor Bill Coombs is going to lead in the invocation, and Councilman John Linhart is going to lead in the pledge. If everybody please stand.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening. Father, we are in the Thanksgiving season, and we want to give thanks to you. Father, we remember the prayer that Jesus prayed. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not unto temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Father, it's my prayer that the City Council this evening knows where the blessings come from. And Father, as they realize that they will do the city good work, that the best interest of Park City will be on their minds. And Father, I pray that each of them throughout the month will ask wisdom from on high. Bless this meeting, Father. May things go well. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. George?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Also, I'd like to amend the consent agenda and remove D2 and replace it with A1 new business.
Okay. John?
This is the wrestling classic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second?
As amended, I second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Not seeing any further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes 8-0. We don't have anything for awards or presentations. No one has signed up to speak at public forum. So we'll start with our staff reports, and we'll start with our Director of Public Works, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Public Works report for November 13th, 2018. Parks Department. We completed the winterization of all the irrigation systems and concession stands. Completed spraying fall pre-emergent at Grove Park. We had the Fall Fest preparation and cleanup. And we completed Brush and Limb Day. We had 76 loads, and the wood chips are available, so come get them. Street Department. Finished repairs on 53rd Street Bridge. We also completed an asphalt patch on Randall Road and completed a slurry seal on Scottsville and Hillside. And during this snow removal, we used approximately 50 tons of salt sand mix. Water and Sewer Department, the average work order per day was 32, and UMC completed the camera work of the sewer lines, 7,130 linear feet. And we also identified some areas that needed some root killer and some chemical root killer, so we added it. And we also installed 3 new residential service connections.
Does anybody have any questions? George?
Yeah, do you have, I've noticed in the gutters and the storm drains, do you have enough manpower to keep the leaves out of there so they don't get
Yeah,
into
the
our
problem
water
is,
supply.
I mean, with this time of year, I mean, you can clean them up 1 minute and they come right back the next. So, but we are aware of it and we are working it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Not seeing anything else. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. The next item is from our building inspector, Bob Walker. Bob?
Council, Mayor, and Bob Walker, the building inspector at Park City. I was just going to bring you an update on the building activity. We've been real busy. It's the busiest year since 2013. Our activities just really shot up. As far as this year, so far, we've issued 377 permits. And out of those permits, 72 of them have been 1 and 2 single-family dwellings. October was a big month. We've issued 16 permits for single-family dwellings in that month alone. We've exceeded last year about 36 more starts. This November, we're already going to issue 3 more permits for single-family. So we're real busy there. I want to kind of update you where we at when the last time I was in front of you. And could you bring up the Briar Rose project, which is also known as Windfield Solutions. That was the last time I was in front of you, that project. If we go to the next slide, it's gone to this. It's approximately 75 to 80% completed now at that project. So, and they've had a tough summer fighting the weather elements on that project. But I asked him today, and he says they are on schedule. So they would like to finish sometime in January. It'd be interesting to see if the weather will cooperate with them for that project. Next one there. This is the KAIS project. It was a 23,000 square foot addition for the engineering department to KAIS. This is where when I first came for you, in front of you last time, and the update on the project. Go ahead, Jack. And here's where we're at now. They're actually about 95% complete there. So they would like to be able to finish up, hopefully sometime in the middle of this month, and so they can have occupancy of that structure. Anyway, that's going to be really good for them to be able to have more room for their engineers to work in. And the last project is actually the beginning of the Atwoods project, and that's kind of where it's in the compaction stage. That project's going to be a 55,000 square foot retail for Atwoods, so they'll stay here in Park City. The weather's not too friendly with them as of now. So right now there's probably 3-4 inches of snow laying on top of that compaction there. So that's pretty well the update. Do you have any questions?
Melvin?
That Atwoods, is it bigger than the old one?
I can't answer that, maybe. I know it's larger. What is?
Yes.
Maybe
10,000 square feet large.
Okay.
So I know they're going to have a screened-in area for their spring activities,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
is a little nicer for them.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay?
All right. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. Uh-huh.
Next, we'll hear from our Senior Center Director, Allison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Just a quick kind of end of the year update on the Senior Center. As of the end of October, we've had 679 active members. So that means at least that many seniors have been at the Senior Center at least once this year. And that's pretty much in line for how it's been the past several years. We've averaged around 700 for the year. We have completed 24 baseline or regularly occurring activities, 63 educational, and 19 special events for the year. So we're on track to meet all of our requirements by the county. Just an update on what we have been doing. So I don't know if you heard or saw pictures on our Facebook page, but I recently took a group of about 20 seniors ziplining in Manhattan last month, and I think they all really enjoyed it. And I would encourage you to look on our Facebook page to see all those pictures because it's totally worth it. And then this month and next month, It's currently Medicare open enrollment right now, and that ends on December 7th. So I am taking appointments to go over Medicare Part D or prescription drug coverage for seniors on Medicare. Right now, during open enrollment, you can always switch Part D plans because there always might be a more affordable option for you for next year, and I can help assist seniors in doing that. I've already saved several of them a few $100s for next year. Compared to if they stayed on the plan that they were on this year. So never hurts to check. Coming up for the holidays, I do have a trip to Prairie Rose for their Patsy Cline Christmas show on December 13th at 5:30. And then our annual Christmas Lights tour on December 20th, also at 5:30. There are some fees for those two activities, but I encourage anyone to call me or stop by the Senior Center if you are interested in participating. And then just a friendly reminder that the Senior Center is open to any Sedgwick County resident 55 or over. And again, I encourage you to check out our Facebook page and make sure you like it so you can see everything. Any questions?
Does anybody have any questions? Melvin?
I just want to say thank you for all you do. I mean, I know a couple people come to you to get their Medicare set up, and appreciate it.
That's what I'm there for.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion? John?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
And George?
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes 8-0. I now ask the council for a 5-minute recess so that we can convene as the land bank. Ben?
I would make a motion that we recess for 5 minutes.
And Jim?
And I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes 8-0. We're back from our 5-minute recess and reconvening as the council. So we'll now move to new business, item A1, which is the sponsorship for the Park City Wrestling Classic on December 14th and 15th, 2018 at Hartman Arena from the 2018 budget. Neil?
Hi, my name is Neil Beeler. I'm the Convention and Tourism, Park City Convention and Tourism Chairman. We had Mr. Bob Hansen with the Wichita Sports Commission. He had asked for sponsorship to the Park City / Wichita Wrestling Classic for on December the 14th and 15th. And he had asked for $16,000. We, as a board, had voted, and we had approved $12,000. After talking to Bob Hansen, he had basically stated that he pretty much cannot do that. They were really close to, basically in his presentation, he said he made a whole $75 last year with the Wrestling Classic. So I had taken to that consideration, and then I got a call today from Ben Bolander of Hartman Arena, and he said that if we can't get the $16,000, the Wrestling Classic will be canceled. And so he had looked at the books for the Sports Commission. He was under the agreement with Bob's, and that there's no way they can do that without our $16,000 sponsorship. So I wanted to see if we can get that, just kind of basically go back and see after, of course, we're going to have a special meeting with the Convention and Tourism Committee and to see if we can improve that $16,000. And that's why I'm here today.
So what Neil is requesting from the council is if we would approve the $16,000 upon approval of CNT when they have their special meeting, so they can determine whether or not they can put this event on. John?
What have we given them in years past?
$16,000.
What does Wichita contribute?
0. And we asked about the whole Wichita having part in the naming rights, and it's always been Park City / Wichita Wrestling Classic. The thing is, it does help, being in the hotel business myself, it does help our hotels tremendously. I'm pretty sure it helps the community out quite a bit too. We get a lot of kids coming in, and every year during that specific time, we're full, and along with the other hotels too.
Have they always been at the Coliseum or Hartman, or has it been different places?
No, it's been at the Coliseum in Hartman. Yes, I don't, yeah, it's always been there.
So if let's just say we'd stick it with 12,000, is this something that they just go somewhere else, or?
They're just not going to do it. They're just not going to do it, yeah, at this time.
Okay.
I just want to say from the business standpoint, this is something that has been very viable to all of the local restaurants, businesses, and hotels. The wrestling events are two of the more popular events, and the Kids Classic is actually more popular than what the state event is, because what you need to consider is you have younger attendees, which often brings siblings, grandparents, and other people into the community. And this is really a huge tourism and economic boost for the community.
I'm sorry, I meant to ask too, how long does it last?
It's the 14th and the 15th, so it's a 2-day event. But weigh-ins could be, I believe, I don't know if the 14th
Typically,
is
they come in the night before.
the night
and
before.
weigh in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Tom?
I was going to say, I think at one time this was the Wichita Park City Classic, and Convention and Tourism got it switched to Park City Wichita.
Wichita Classic,
And the
yeah.
only thing Wichita has to do with it is Sports Commission. And so I don't know why it's just not called Park City Wrestling.
Yeah, since the Sports Commission totally runs the whole show, I believe that's why they have the Wichita in there. Yeah, they do all the work, and so we've tried to get that name reduced down to Park City, but we've had no luck with that. Okay.
Jim?
Neil, this thing's always been well attended. We sponsored it for a long time. I appreciate you trying to save a few dollars there.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's what we've sponsored it in the past, and there's always really good attendance at this. And your hotel report's huge, and the business report, the restaurants, you have my support.
George? Or I'm sorry, Ben, then George.
I think it's kind of been talked about. Is there a reason why the CNT went to 12,000 this year versus 16,000 than normal?
It was just a motion made, and somebody seconded it, and then they all agreed, and it passed, and it's one of those things. And of course, I'm just a facilitator, so I didn't say anything at the time, but I knew that could be a sticking point with them, so, yeah.
Okay, so based upon what we've done for previous years, we've always done 16,000, or at least in recent history up until this point.
Yes.
There. I know George has something to say, and then I'm ready to make a motion whenever. So.
Well, you can make a motion.
I'll make a motion here then that we approve the funding based upon CNT's meeting for the additional 4,000, so total amount of $16,000.
Subject to the CNT board's approval of that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. George, did you want a second for discussion?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay.
And I just want to clarify, I believe I'm correct on this. This money is coming out of guest tax, right? Mm-hmm. It's not out of our budget, and it's not tax dollars.
Yep.
So I'm all for it.
Okay. We got a motion and a second. Not seeing any further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes 8-0. Neil, thank you for bringing that to our attention to correct that. Appreciate it. That brings us to item A, which is consider a resolution determining the advisability of making of certain internal improvements within the city of Park City, Kansas, making certain findings with respect thereto, and authorizing and providing for such. The making of improvements on ordinance with such findings, paving improvements, Phase 5, High Ridge, 2nd edition. Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are several resolutions all pertaining to Phase 5, High Ridge. This is the 37 lots that were purchased for us, and these will put in the improvements that would be needed in order for him to develop those 37 lots, subject, of course, to receiving a letter of credit. This particular one is for paving. There's two paving. One is paving of 69, well, I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, go ahead, because I mean, this is all encompassing, just,
Okay.
I mean,
There's two paving. One is paving of 69th Street itself, a portion of it. The other is paving within the subdivision for those 37 lots. There is a large sewer line that we're participating in, running from the east edge of the existing High Ridge Second Edition over to Hillside. We're participating in a portion of that until such time as those lots are sold in order to get the sewer over to these 37 lots. Water is within that 37 lots, will tie into the existing water line that was put in under Phase 3 of High Ridge back a couple of years ago. All of these should be subject to the letter of credit.
and just to remind everybody, this would be with the TJ, who we sold that land to, who's now paid us for it, and the expectation was that we would do this for him. John?
I'll make a motion, we approve item A,
Okay.
subject to receiving the letter of credit.
And Ben?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Not seeing any further discussion. Dee, would you call the roll?
John Lanhare.
Aye.
George Glover.
Aye.
Ben Salcetta.
Aye.
Melvin Kerr.
Aye.
Tom Jones.
Aye.
George Capps.
Aye.
Brandy Bailey.
Aye.
Jim Schrader.
Aye.
And that motion passes 8-0.
That's resolution number 1010-2018.
Okay, that brings us to item B. And this will be for the making of the improvements and ordinance with such findings for the sanitary sewer improvements in Phase 5, High Ridge, Second Edition. John?
Same thing, I'll make a motion, we approve item B, subject to receiving a letter of credit as well.
And Jim?
And I'd second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Not seeing any discussion. Dee, would you call the roll?
John Lanhare.
Aye.
George Glover.
Aye.
Ben Salcetta.
Aye.
Melvin Kerr.
Aye.
Tom Jones.
Aye.
George Capps.
Aye.
Brandy Bailey.
Aye.
Jim Schrader.
Aye.
And that motion passes 8-0.
Resolution number 1011-2018.
Okay. That brings us to item C, and this would be the resolution for the making of improvements and ordinance with such findings of the off-site pavings that Jack covered, improvements in Phase 5, High Ridge, Second Edition. Jim?
And I would move that we approve that item C, subject to the receiving a letter of credit.
And Ben?
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Not seeing any further discussion. Dee, would you call the roll?
John Lanhare.
Aye.
George Glover.
Aye.
Ben Salcetta.
Aye.
Melvin Kerr.
Aye.
Tom Jones.
Aye.
George Capps.
Aye.
Brandy Bailey.
Aye.
Jim Schrader.
Aye.
And that motion passes 8-0.
Resolution number 1012-2018.
Thank you. That brings us to item D. This would be a resolution for the improvements of the water improvements, Phase 5, High Ridge, Second Edition. Ben?
Should I make a motion that we approve item D? Subject to a letter of credit.
George?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Not seeing any further discussion. Dee, would you call the roll?
John Lanhare.
Aye.
George Glover.
Aye.
Ben Salcetta.
Aye.
Melvin Kerr.
Aye.
Tom Jones.
Aye.
George Capps.
Aye.
Brandy Bailey.
Aye.
Jim Schrader.
Aye.
And that motion passes 8-0.
Resolution number 1013-2018.
Right. And that brings us to item E, which is consider contracts with K.E. Miller Engineering for High Ridge Second Edition Phase 4 for paving and water improvements. Jack?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. About a month or so ago, you approved the resolutions of advisability of part of High Ridge Second Edition. There were 16 lots involved, and they would tie in to Fairchild from the existing road, if you remember that. He has provided us a 35% letter of credit on that project. The engineering contracts didn't get presented to you because Mr. Miller had to go in the hospital, and so he's back out now, and so he's asking for us to go ahead and approve his agreement. Since we do have the letter of credit, it would be subject to a letter of credit.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Jack? Ben?
Should I make a motion that we go ahead and approve the contract with K.E. Miller for the engineering at High Ridge, second edition, phase 4 for paving and water?
And Jim?
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Not seeing any further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes 7-0-1. That will bring us to item F, which is consider the contracts with K.E. Miller Engineering for High Ridge, second edition, phase 5, for the portion of 69th Street off-site paving, on-site paving, sanitary sewer, and water improvements. Jack?
This is for the 37 lots, the engineering for the 37 lots. Note, subject to receiving a letter of credit, because we haven't received a letter of credit yet on that project.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Tom?
I want to explain myself. I work part-time for this company. Probably won't work on this project, but I don't want there to be appearance of impropriety, so I'll be abstaining on this too.
Okay. Ben?
Sure, I'd make a motion that we go ahead and approve the contract here as presented, subject to a letter of credit.
And Jim?
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Not seeing any further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes 7-0-1. That brings us to item G, which is consider a contract with WSP Engineering for design services of 61st Street from Broadway intersection west to the Wichita Valley Center floodway, with engineering fees to be paid out of the MTB fund until the general obligation bonds are complete to reimburse the MTB fund. Jack?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. WSP has designed 61st Street, current 61st Street. They designed 53rd Street plus 53rd Street intersection. They have just completed the design on the bridge on 61st Street. And I recommend that you go ahead and approve this. The fee is real reasonable. It's only 4%, which is quite good.
Okay. Jim?
I don't really have any questions, so I would move that we consider that we contract with WSP Engineering for the design service of 61st Street from the Broadway intersection west to the Wichita Valley Center floodway, with engineering fees to be paid out of the MTBE fund until the general obligation bonds are completed to reimburse the MTBE fund.
And Tom?
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Not seeing any further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes 8-0. That brings us to item H, which is consider a proposal from Jordan Noon to purchase the east 90 feet of Poston Park north and adjacent to Fairchild for $5,000. I thought Jordan would be here this evening.
Well, he was going to, but he had a house closing, and so he was not able to make it. I can briefly describe what he's wanting to do. If you look on your screen, that red area is a lot that he would like to purchase. That's currently in Poston Park, a portion of Poston Park north of Fairchild, and it butts against High Ridge Second Edition. He has made an offer of $5,000. If you decide to do this, I would recommend that we charge the same rate as we did for the 37 lots per lot, cost of about $5,600. if you so inclined to sell this portion of property.
I mean, it's a little bit not the same thing, just because I'm sure this doesn't have specials on it. Tom?
Well, I've got a question. That is looking at the top above the, what would still be park, is that a road dotted line through there, or is that?
It's part of the pipeline easement that goes
So
across.
the next
these-
lot is dedicated to pipeline, you can't do anything with it?
No, we made the other.
No, I'm talking
part
about
too.
to the west there. You got the 90 feet, and then you got what would be another lot there.
Well, it goes across some housing lots farther north, so it would become a problem. You couldn't run a park through there.
No, I'm not even talking
I
park.
think
I'm
what we're talking
another-
about
making
is
another
the-
developable lot there.
The oil pipeline that runs there.
No, if you look above the 35 DR and you see
Right.
the 70, that's another lot there.
I understand, but I'm asking about the one that would be to the west.
We're talking about this
I'm talking about this area right here.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's a
telling you,
pipeline.
that's the pipeline easement.
Okay.
That's what we were, that's
Because
what.
my question was, why wouldn't we do that lot too and finish off that side of the street? And if there's a pipeline there, you can't. So,
He's not asking for that one, he's just
well,
asking.
I'm looking forward to, we've got a
But
square
there's,
piece
you
of property.
can't do anything with that property, is what we're trying to
Except mow
talk
it.
about.
All I can present to you is what he's asked me to. I don't know. if
Jack,
you-
you're missing the
Yeah.
point.
I know what you're saying. Do you want to sell that?
No,
Tell me. and
no.
we'll
No,
sell it.
we're saying there's an oil pipeline right there, right?
Yes.
So you can't do anything with that property.
Right.
Right.
Because you can't put a house on it.
Okay.
thought-
And
That's what the
all I'm-
question was.
Okay, I thought I said 3 times that there's a pipeline easement going through there. Maybe I'm.
After I ask
didn't
my
make it
question,
Clear enough.
yes,
I'm
okay.
sorry, but I didn't make it clear enough.
So that lot that's there, though, is far enough away from the pipeline, you can do something with it?
Yeah, because it's not encroaching in the easement itself.
Okay.
John?
Jack, while you were talking, you mentioned that 35 DR
Yeah,
and UE. That, explain to me what that is, I'm sorry.
that's a 35-foot drainage and utility easement.
All right,
Also, there is, if you see the RES,
Mm-hmm.
there is a reserve that runs through there, a 90-foot reserve that runs all the way across the top of that.
great. And so, kind of what Tom was saying, if, let's just say we went south across the street, can that be sold too, actually?
Anything to the west of the red line towards Grove, it's all utility easement, pipeline easement. You couldn't sell it.
No, south across the street.
Same. Oh, exactly south?
Yeah, just adjacent south.
Sure, you could sell a portion of that.
So I wonder, do you have any idea, just your institutional knowledge, you've been here longer than all of us, but why didn't we go all the way over back then?
Why did we stop at Fairchild? Or,
No, why did we stop where we did? Why didn't we sell this lot long ago to Hendricks or?
well, it wasn't, everything else had been platted when we did this, and so there was no interest in it.
I'm just curious, I mean, because this was all farm ground when I moved here. And how do we own this land? How
Okay,
come the farmer didn't
I
own it?
talked to the person who owned this and all the land to the east, okay? And there was a desire at that time to continue our park all the way as far north as we could.
Okay,
So I talked to him, I told him that if he would donate this land to us, we would name a park after him. And that's where you got the name
Holston
Holston.
Park, okay.
And I
Thank you.
did it 2 other times as you go south, that's why the names change. Okay. So
Thanks.
people like to have their parks named after them, and they were willing to give us the land. But I wanted more than just the utility easement, because you had to have enough width to make it halfway decent
Right,
to do, so.
thank you.
That's how we came up with that. That was an agreement with him. It also matched all the land to the south, all the
Okay.
way down to 65th Street.
So looking at big picture, I guess right now we just have this little area, but further north, you talked about, say, maybe someday expanding, but there's a
You couldn't go
reserve.
very far. You couldn't go very far, because there is a lot, a cul-de-sac with lots that go across the utility easement.
Okay,
I mean, there are things that you can do in the utility easement, like put sidewalks and play soccer and things like that on the property.
Gotcha.
You just can't dig big holes and things like that because of the pipeline.
Thank you.
Okay, Brandy?
Derek, you said this was donated land. Is there
Correct.
restrictions on that donation?
Not to, we could sell the lot, yeah. I think he would get a little irritated if we sold all the park with his name on it, yeah. But as far as I know, there was no deed restriction. Now, over on the easement, there is some restrictions on it.
Tom?
I'm just gonna say again, I don't know why we wouldn't go across the street and finish off that street there. And then I noticed that's a 90-foot instead of a 60-foot. Is that 90 just because we got 90 available, or would we want to match that up to a 60?
That's what he submitted to us.
So we don't want to keep them consistent along there at 60s?
All I'm telling you is that what he presented to me, 90.
Jim?
All right, I think I see what he's doing here, and I don't know if I better stay by the microphone, I guess. I mean, this used to be a park that was going to extend all up into High Ridge. Well, we've replatted High Ridge, and now we have one corner here that doesn't have a house on it. So this lot he's drawn out here matches up to the lot to the north to keep the west property line squared off. So that makes that's why it's 90 feet. It's just trying to match the lot, the west property line of the lot to the north. So, and you can't fit two 45-foot lots in there that, you know, so I see why he's at 90 feet. But, and it also makes sense that this is now a chewed off corner since we replatted this with the new High Ridge deal. So I don't think you want to go further west because that would then not be lined up with the property line going north. And so anyway, my question then is, this doesn't interfere, and I don't believe it does, with anything we have planned with, may have planned with sidewalks.
Not that I'm aware of.
You probably still need that property to the west there, to expand off the street.
Over the years,
or
there have been several discussions. One was a dog park, another is a public garden area, but nothing specific had been discussed.
And I noticed where the zoning's still staying the same, and that's another subject anyway. So I guess I just wanted to state my opinion of I see why he's doing it, and I guess I don't really have any issue with it.
Okay, Melvin?
Is there any equipment on that, or do we have anything on there yet?
No.
It's just open ground?
Just open ground.
Just dirt? Okay.
John?
I'm a little leery of selling this like this. I mean, I feel like if we're gonna sell it, we maybe should market it and see what it brings, whether it's an auction or whatever it may be. As the mayor mentioned, it doesn't have specials, which brings the value up significantly. It's right next to a park. I mean, to me, I just think this could be viewed as kind of a backdoor deal that no other developers in the area got a chance to buy. I mean, the benefit is our crews won't have to mow that much more ground, but is it really that much more when they're there mowing anyway? Maybe the person next door would have an interest in it too. I don't know. I'm just a little leery of selling it in this manner. I think if we're gonna do it, we should maybe do a public auction and see if we can get more than $5,000 out of it. Because the specials on this, I had a lot in the next phase after this, and I think our specials were about 15,000 for just the specials. That didn't count the lot. So the lot in and of itself, if I remember right, we paid $12,000 for our lot and paid specials for 15 years, I believe it was.
All right, so I'm going to coattail on this for a minute because I finally got somewhere where I want to be. I don't think we should sell this. I mean, we can't do anything with the other side of it. And if we carve out this little section, now you have a smaller piece of dirt that you're not going to be able to do anything with. Eventually, I don't know, maybe you could put something out there volleyball court, basketball court, you could do some type of something there. But if you carve out that portion, you're not doing anything with the other half of it. It's just going to sit there and you're going to mow it for the rest of the time. Even if you try to say, well, we could shore it up a little bit and sell the lot across the street from it, well, then you're just taking a bigger cut out of the park. I mean, and I think too, we have a park board, and if the park board wanted to kind of be a part of, like, hey, making a recommendation, I think you guys should sell that and it come to us and look at it. But I don't think we should sell this. I mean, it's a piece of park. It's going to have that reserve back behind it. It gives you a little bit more flexibility that we could do something in there. Who knows what that might be, but if we sell that little chunk, and once again, if we would sell it for $5,000, we're just giving it away. I mean, it's worth more than that. And I think if the council would want to sell it, let's sell it and get some money. But if you sell it, you can't do anything with the other side of it. It would be better to sell that entire section, and then that homeowner know that they can't build anything over there and let somebody else mow and maintain it, versus us selling a part of it and then we still have something we have to take care of. It would be better to sell the whole section, let somebody build, and let them mow and maintain that and take care of it if we don't want to include it in our park. But I think $5,000 is like giving it away, and we need to stop selling ourselves short. That's my 2 cents. Ben?
And I don't have a problem with them putting an offer. The old verbiage is, you have not because you asked not, so he made an offer, and I don't see a problem considering it. But that said, as the mayor mentioned, is really what this is, it's just going to cut out what is already a smaller park area and make it even smaller for any type of development of any such way. So to me, it doesn't make sense to sell this lot at all, really. So with that said, I would make a motion here that we decline the offer.
Okay. Tom, do you want a second?
I'm going to second, but I was going to make a comment too. I already written down some stuff before John spoke up. I thought that if we were going to do that, we ought to do the one across the street from it too, to square off that block. But you're buying something cheap, $5,000 for a lot, and don't have any specials. The street, water, sewer, and everything's there for free. And so $5's a little cheap. It's a larger lot and probably half of what the homeowner next door paid for their lot when they built a house on it. So, plus specials. So, I mean, I'll buy the one across the street if we're going to do that. We'll split them up. So.
Yeah. And I think one thing too, if you look at going across the street, you really start carving up the park and it's no longer square anymore. But I would say if somebody wanted to come back and counter offer and say, I'll take that whole corner for $25,000, maybe we'd talk about that. But for $5,000 to carve something out, we still get to take care of the other half and never can do anything with it. I just don't see where it benefits us.
But I was on the same line as John, where there's a lot of, we've put a lot of money into that, and the homeowners in that area put a lot of money into specials, and we aren't recouping anything for that value, so.
Okay. George? Yeah.
Well, I tend to agree with the mayor on this, but even if we did sell it, it wouldn't be fair. You know, there could be other people interested in buying that property, and for someone to make an offer and come before us and us just sell it to them, I don't think that'd be fair to the public out there. I agree with John. If we was going to sell it, and I don't think we should, but if we were, I think we ought to make it open to the public or auction or whatever. But like I say, I just didn't keep it.
All right, got a motion and a second to reject this offer. Not seeing any further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes 8-0. That brings us to item I, which is consider a resolution authorizing the offering for sale of General Obligation Bond Series 2019A of the City of Park City, Kansas. Larry?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Larry Kleeman with Ranson Financial Group, the city's financial advisor. This is to issue general obligation bonds to permanently finance improvements in the Prairie Hills Phase 3 and 4. You'll recall over the past few months we went through the special assessment process. So these bonds will be paid by special assessments from the benefiting property owners rather than the city at large. No one prepaid any specials, so we'll issue the full amount of the bonds, which is right at, I think, $350,000. The resolution before you authorizes us as a financial advisor, and also in conjunction with your bond counsel, Gilmer and Bell, to prepare the documents to take bids. We'll bring the bids back at your next meeting, December 11th, at which you can then approve the bonds, the best bid on the bonds at that time. The bonds would be issued, and then we'll eventually levy the assessments to help pay the debt service on those bonds. If you have any questions, let me know.
Does anybody have any questions? Pretty straightforward. Ben?
Should I make a motion that we go ahead and consider or approve here the resolution authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation bonds?
For Series 2019?
For Series, yes, sorry, 2019 of the City of Park City, Kansas.
All right, Jim?
And I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Not seeing any further discussion. Dee, would you call the roll?
John Lanier.
Aye.
George Glover.
Aye.
Ben Salcetta.
Aye.
Melvin Kerr.
Aye.
Tom Jones.
Aye.
George Capps.
Aye.
Brandy Bailey.
Aye.
Jim Schrader.
Aye.
That resolution passes 8-0.
Resolution number 1014-2018.
Thank you, Dee. That brings us to item J, which is considered the addition of an employee assistance program through Impact to improve the employee benefit program at a cost of $1.50 per month, or per employee per month. So this is one of these great things. We get to look at sweetening up the things for our employees. Dana?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor and Council. We very much appreciate your consideration of this evening. As you know, we have continued to improve our benefit package to our employees, and we have really been focusing on wellness. Wellness extends beyond that physical piece. It is also emotional. It is financial. You need to have a balance in your life, and we need for our employees to be balanced in their home life and then here at work as well. Before you this evening is consideration of an employee assistance program. I feel that this is something that's critical, particularly in the type of work that our employees do. We are often called upon, especially our employees who are first responders, to respond to issues that are very difficult, that we've had some in the past couple of weeks, that perhaps it's something that maybe they would want to talk to someone about. If we were to have some type of a major incident, this is a company that would come in and they would debrief and they would manage that incident for us. I know that we're all familiar with things that happen in law enforcement, and sometimes this would be something that would be very much needed. Also, if an employee is struggling at home, and it may be that they're having problems with another member of their family, this would be an opportunity for that employee or a member in their household to go forward and to ask for assistance. It's confidential. They don't have to come to HR. They don't have to come to anybody. We will not know that. It will be an ability for them to go and handle these situations themselves. And as we know, if we have strong employees, then we have a strong workforce. In addition to that, this is a benefit to the city in the respect that there's training that can be provided. Each year, we're looking for someone to do our harassment prevention training. We would utilize this service for that. And there's also other trainings that would be available. This evening, Stacy Winter, who is the CEO of Impact, is here, and she's going to be able to address this with more details and answer questions that you would have.
She did a fine job, so there's not much more I can say. I do want to let you know that Impact is a local nonprofit employee assistance program, and our roots date back to 1977 when three large companies in Wichita decided to pioneer providing support services to their employees. And like she said, back then they believed that well-balanced, healthy people make a strong, committed, engaged workforce, and in turn, that makes a great community, a wonderful place to live. So thank you for considering us. We do serve over 200 companies, and our board, a 12-member board, is made up of representatives of those companies, and they do direct our business. We do serve other municipalities such as the City of Newton, Valley Center, Wichita, Hayesville, Cheney, Clearwater, and others. And our primary service is to provide short-term confidential counseling and coaching for all members of the employee's household. We also provide those services at our Wichita location in downtown Wichita. We have 10 counselors that are licensed master's level clinicians, including myself, who have a variety of specialties to serve those employees and those issues. If we have a need for other specialties, we do have affiliate providers across the state of Kansas, across the city, and actually across the nation. Employees also receive connection to other resources. We do have partners that help with money management, also with legal issues and elder care. Those seem to be the main areas of stress for the workforce. And we do provide newsletters and training and critical incident stress debriefings, particularly for law enforcement officers. We do serve the city of Wichita as well as the county, Sedgwick County. Questions?
Ben?
I want to say I'm very much in favor of this program here. I was familiar with it when I spent some time at the county and some of the things that they offered. Yeah. And I will say as one that has personally faced and dealt with some of these issues, that I think it's important that these types of services are offered to employees across the board. And so for such a minimal cost and for a great benefit it is to our employees, I think it's vital really that the council approves this. And with that, I would make a motion here that we approve the addition of an employee assistance program through Impact to the employee benefit program at a cost of $1.50 per employee per month.
Tom, did you want a second for discussion?
Yes, I was going to second it.
Awesome. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think it's a good deal.
All right. George?
Well, I'm curious, is there going to be a policy? Is the city going to have a written policy on how this is used?
Well, it's a confidential thing.
I understand.
Part of your employee benefit package.
Right.
Okay.
I guess I'm not understanding where you're coming from.
Then there's no one can order an employee to go see these people?
No.
Okay, that's what
It could happen that you could mandate sessions. You can choose to do that or not to do that.
And that's why I was asking about a policy.
Okay.
Yes, George, that is one piece that can be put into place. And if that was something that, for example, we had an employee that was struggling, performance issues or something of that nature, then we would be able to mandate that. The city would pay for that. Would not be included in this price per month. The city would pay for that. But that is something that we could look at utilizing if we needed to do that.
But what we're looking at tonight is simply the benefit piece, and we are not looking at an addition to our policy that would include this where it could be mandated.
We could bring that back as a written policy.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Okay. So George, are you saying you would be in favor of bringing something like that back?
Yeah, I'd like to. You know, if you're going to mandate an employee to do something, then I would like to have a policy in place to say at what point do you order an employee to do that.
Okay. I guess what I'm asking is, do you support having a policy in place that mandates an employee to go do something? That's what I'm asking. And that's a tough thing because you could say, depending on how the policy is written, I might be able to support it. But my intention was that not to be brought here tonight, but this is a benefit that we're given that allows employees to go do what they want to do.
Okay.
But if the council wants to engage this further, then yes, we could bring a policy and bring that back.
Well, I'll go back. At times, when I was a chief, I offered counseling to people and probably would like to have had a policy where I could have ordered it.
Okay.
but I did not have that. I did not have that tool in my toolbox.
Okay, so you're saying that would be a benefit?
I think so.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
I think so.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes 8-0. Thank you, appreciate you coming this evening.
Would like to thank the council for the support of our employees. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, and with that, we'll move on to governing body reports, and we'll start with Jim.
I just would, it's hard to believe it's here already, but wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving next week. That's all I have to report tonight.
Randy?
That was what I was gonna say. I just wanted to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. It's coming up and we won't meet prior to that, so that's it.
Ditto. Where's the year went?
All right, Tom?
Happy Thanksgiving, and thank all the vets out there.
All right.
Stay late.
Melvin?
Just happy Thanksgiving, and that's it.
All right, Ben?
Sure, I was just gonna say happy Thanksgiving, but also say thank you to our veterans that have served, that are serving. We thank you very much for your sacrifice and for your family's sacrifice.
George?
Yeah, same thing. Happy Thanksgiving to all those out there, all of our residents. We definitely have a lot to be thankful for this year. Also for our veterans and what they do. Also want to just let everybody know we're still working on our city administrator job search, and that's going along pretty well. Thank you.
John?
I have nothing. Ditto what everyone's saying, and I will make a motion to adjourn.
All right, Ben?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Jim, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, I was just trying to see if somebody had questions here.
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that motion passes 8-0. Thank you.